So 1333. Hi, how you doing? You. What's up? Wait, you asked me that first. Okay, well, in that case, I'll go first. I'll tell you what's up first. Because you asked first, and it's only fair. Well, I'm working on a highly technical project while I am extremely tired and probably a bit sick. But I'm making good progress. Yep. Yeah, my name is Maddie, and that is the 13th letter, right? I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to trust you. I don't normally trust internet strangers, but this is the kind of thing where it's not too consequential. I don't care. I'm not. Why would you lie to me? I don't think you would. Because you are very mathy. I like it. And I can also tell you're coming from probably a part of the world that uses a lot of metric based on the fact that you're using commas instead of periods. It tends to go together. You're probably in, like, Europe or something. Nice. Netherlands! Oh, wonderful! Absolutely wonderful. Well, hello and welcome to the stream. I like it. Orange is a good name. Alright. Now what's the map on? Oh, okay. I was about to ask. So I was like, if you assign a number to each letter in the word orange and you sum them together, you're gonna get something higher than 33. So yeah, I'm very curious how this all ties together. There seems to be some synesthesia going on here. Okay, so J would be a 1 instead of a 10, or won't be a 1 instead of a 10. I am genuinely trying to follow along because I find this interesting. Alright. Okay, please do, please do. No, you won't, because J would be a 1 instead of a 10. So, okay, what makes a J a 1? Because clearly it's not just like alphabet order. J is not the first letter of the alphabet. Unless it is in the Netherlands. I don't know anything about your alphabet there. I'm sorry. It's a gap in my linguistics knowledge. Alright. Oh, okay, you're summing the digits. Alright. Okay, so J is the 10th letter, so 1 plus 0 equals 1. Alright. Okay. Yeah, I think I know what's going on here. Alright, let me do this in Python so I can do it dynamically. Alright. Is it this? Okay, that's not it. Is it ORD? Okay. Oh, that's not terribly helpful. Minus. Okay, so O would be the 15th letter of the alphabet. Is that lining up? We said M is 13. Okay, all right. I'm on this. Okay, so lambda. All right, so lambda. No, I'll do a function. Letter to multi-digits. Okay, and that's going to be this is going to be word letter minus word A plus 1. Right? So I got that. Okay. So how are we going to sum digits? I have a strat here. Int C for C in that. Okay, all right. So that's how we do this. I'm recreating your method. Okay, I hope that's all right. Sum digits. All right. N, and that is going to be return sum int. I'll do D. Enter that digit for D in string version of N. All right, getting there. Letter to number is going to combine these two. Turn sum digits on letter to multi-digits. Letter to number J is 1. Okay, recreating the method. We're on it now. Okay, so sum letter to number letter for letter in orange. 33. Hot damn. Okay. I see your method here. I see you. Oh, that's cool as hell. Yeah, let me do that for... I summed to 27. It's not your method, it's from Pythagoras. You know, that doesn't surprise me. There was a lot of numerology going around back then, and especially in his little circle. Okay. 27 is now a master number. So, within the context of Pythagorean numerology, what is a master number? Okay, 3 master numbers, 11, 22, and 33. Cool. With you so far. It's just kind of like a static array, essentially. Or constant, I guess, would be a better way to translate it into my programmer thinking. So this 27 would be 9. Alright, so there's some sort of translation going there, some sort of process that needs to happen, and it's conditional on whether the input is a master number. Right? Okay. These numbers have a much higher frequency than the root numbers. Okay. By root numbers, are you thinking like perfect squares? Like 4, 9, 16, 25. Root numbers are 1 through 9. Okay. Alright, okay. So the master numbers, 11, 22, and 33, have a much higher frequency than the root numbers, which are 1 through 9. Alright. I'm catching up to your terminology, and I really appreciate you being patient with me. Okay. So, I'm still very... Oh, I'm not going to say that on stream. I'm sorry. That's far too much like personal information. I can make up a date for you. I'm not going to use my real one, but I can make up a date if you want to do like some sort of fun transformation on it. Fair. How about April 4th, 1990? Oh, that works. Damn. Okay. You're a 1 LP with 3 energy. We're getting practically a new concept every line you type. Okay. Okay, so, alright. 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 4 equals 10 equals 1 plus 0 equals 1. Okay, the 3 comes from the 21st. 2 plus 1 equals 3. Okay. Alright. Gotcha. So, the energy is going to be the day part of the birth date with the digits summed together. That's easy enough. Yeah. Ooh, I have a question. I have an algorithmic question. Okay. With the date summing, and I might need to explain what I mean here, but is it recursive? So like, let's say that you sum the dates together and you get like 11 or something. Do you sum it again and get 2? Oh, okay. That's fair, I guess. So, assuming not a master number, though. Oh my gosh, I just now, like, a light bulb has turned on above my head. I just finally, like, understood something that you said earlier. The 27 would be 9. That was kind of like tickling my brain, and I wasn't sure what you meant, but now I get it. That is one of the digit sums. Okay. So you have an algorithm for compressing numbers into almost like a checksum. And it has the master numbers as an exception. So you basically keep going until you have a root number or a master number, right? Yeah, I'm going to write this as code because this is how my brain thinks. And it helps me understand the methodology. I'm going to call this shrink. You shrink the number until you get to a stopping point. If n in 11, 22, 33, return n, because that's a master number. All right, n is greater than or equal to 0, and n is less than 10, less than or equal to 9. Okay, you get into an infinite loop if you play with 0 here. So I'm going to treat that as a root number for the case of for the use of shrinking. I'm going to treat 0 is really a 9. Okay. I'm going to finish this draft, and then I'm going to see if I can understand what you're talking about. Okay. Okay, we have return shrink sum digits n. Yeah, so we sum the digits and then put it through shrink again. Okay, so this is what I think shrink does. I had to make up a name for it. Shrink 27, it's 9, 33 is 33 because it's a master number, 22. This is where you're saying you can only have a 2 LP when your birthday adds up to 20, but if your birthday adds up to 20, you're really an 11 LP. Okay. So I thought I understood the principle of the 3 energy, but I'm not sure about LP. Because it's clearly a different thing. You got kind of 2 algorithms going on here. One for energy and one for LP. Okay, 3 plus 0 equals 3. 3 plus 9 equals 12. And 1 plus 2 equals 3. This is wrinkling my brain. Some of this stuff I can get really easily when I figure out what you're talking about, but others it's how do you do this consistently? There's a little vibe stuff here, which is not bad, but I'm trying to reconcile this into the language that I understand, which is these very mechanical algorithms. And always work the same way. Okay. So I am still trying to. I'm a little distracted, like going back and forth and trying to like find clues where I can. The LP formula that you used for your birthday. I'm trying to figure out where each little piece comes from, because you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, and the 2, 4 seems like it's coming from 2004. I think the 2, 1 in the middle there is 21st. Oh, I get it. I get it. Okay. All right. So I think I get what's going on here. Okay. So you've essentially shrunk a step, to be concise. Life path. Okay. Which is the full sum of the date of your birth. Okay. So for yours, which is 10/21/2004. All right. So 10 plus 21 plus 2 plus 0 plus 0 plus 4. So this is how you calculated your life path, right? And that is all put through the shrink operation? Okay. All right. Okay. I understand LP now. It's your life path. And your energy is the shrink of just the day part of your birth date. Right? Okay. So numbers. All right. Okay. Okay. LP equals, it's going to be digits, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to fit this into the framework. Okay. Yeah, this is fascinating to me. And energy equals the shrink of just the date, turn, LP, energy. My numbers, and I'm gonna do 21, 10, 2004. Okay. Yeah, and that is correct. 1 LP and 3 energy, right? Yeah. Yeah, I had to reverse engineer a bit of it, but yes. I mean, that's part of the fun. That's part of the puzzle, right? This is about cosmic mysteries, after all. Oh, shoot. I always forget I have a touch screen. I mean, I am obviously not an expert in this field, and I'm learning quite a bit today. But, you know, just like reputationally, I was aware that a lot of mathematics in this era of history was basically just like, well, okay, most math for most of history is these numbers are doing funny things. Why the number do that? And trying to like find the patterns of it. And this is hardcore like pattern recognition kind of stuff. Okay. Masculinity and leadership, and 3 is the number of creativity and communication. Nice. Mm. Is it okay if I run to the bathroom for like 5 minutes? This coffee's doing things to my intestines. Alright, I will be back shortly. This is so fun. Sorry that it took a while. Irritable bowel syndrome is a cruel mistress, but I was able to work on something in my head. Yay, I am back. Thank you. Okay, I worked out my own LP and energy while I was in the bathroom. I had the time to. So, turns out that we have the same energy, but I have an LP of 4. So, 4 LP, 3 energy. Yeah? Really? Okay, you gotta tell me what the 4 means. Because I'll pull out my phone here so I can see the scroll back and see what you're saying about the 3 energy, but... Okay. 4 is the number of law and order. That's why you're a dove. Okay, that makes sense. Unfortunately, this has no scroll back because it was disconnected. But, damn, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I got my own sense of law and order that is not necessarily the carceral system, but about, like, structure, you know? Very logical thinkers. Yes, very much so. Okay, starts with C. C is the 3rd letter. Cool. Yeah. Logical thinker, hard worker. That describes me pretty damn well. Yeah. So 3 is the number of creativity and communication. Okay. Yeah. Structure and communication and creativity. That's very me. Do I see what you see? What do you see there? I could run that through the, there's one number in my username, that's true. Hot damn! Okay, yes it does. Okay. Yeah. You're on to some hardcore pattern recognition stuff here. I'm into it. Nice. Yeah, I like it. No, shoot. Don't fall asleep, computer. I can definitely get that perspective. I don't necessarily subscribe to it myself, but I have to admit, as a hobby and mental exercise, god damn is numerology fun. It's a lot of fun. Oh, I had a thought and now I'm struggling to complete it. Yeah. I mean, the thing about our brains is that they are very good at recognizing patterns because it's necessary for survival, you know, and there are a lot of patterns in the world. There's a lot of patterns in nature. There's a lot of patterns in the world that we've constructed because we construct worlds with patterns because we're pattern thinkers. You know? The world is full of patterns, and having pattern recognition is useful for navigating it. See, that's where I'm kind of like, so the numbers can line up with personality, but they're not required to. And part of the reason that I think that is because I know some people who are born on the same day as each other, but have very different personalities. So, yeah. That might be the 4LP talking. Yeah. Because that's one of the things about, like, it's also something that affects astrology, because astrology is also very birthday based, up to a point. I mean, like, if you go deep into astrology, it starts to branch off of other things too, as I understand it. But the stuff that's purely birthday based is like, it means that the fates are always the same for twins, which tends not to be the case in real life, and you can think of counterexamples pretty easily. So that's where I'm like, okay, maybe up to a point, but there's also a bit of like, oh, that could apply to a lot of people, and I guess that applies to me too. On the other hand, I do really like tarot, and I have I'm polyamorous, and I have multiple partners. One of them really enjoys tarot and doing tarot readings, and she tends to be pretty accurate with her tarot readings. So, you never know what's humming in the universe underneath our planes of perception. Think magic. Mm-hmm. I'm agreeing and humming the thing you said before that. Yeah. There's an M on my cup because it's the first letter of my name, so that's a bit self-fulfilling. But, yeah. It is. There's definitely that element of interpretation. Like, getting cards, you have to turn which cards you get into some sort of legible, coherent message by incorporating context from your life. You know what? I'm having a very, like, structured thinker moment here. And here's what I think. And maybe you'll violently disagree with me. But I want you to consider something. Because I'm not necessarily trying to... Oh, it's over here. I'm not necessarily trying to defend tarot as, like, true mysticism that always works. I don't have a dog in that fight. I'm not necessarily very supernatural myself. I've just kind of been impressed with the accuracy of my girlfriend's card readings. But I'm mostly not someone who sees the world as being a supernatural thing. So here's how I look at tarot. And you might find this interesting and or useful. So you're right, in a sense, that it doesn't matter at all which cards you get. Okay, so to detour and define supernatural, it was a show that ran for about 11 years. I'm kidding. But I did love the show Supernatural, so I had to throw in that joke. Sam and Dean, love them. Show went on too long, but I guess I would use those words interchangeably, and maybe not everyone would use those interchangeably. But yeah, so I'm not a strict naturalist either, but I'm kind of on a specific part of the spectrum. So I would say that naturalism would be the belief that there is nothing about the universe that is non-deterministic, spooky, whatever. And then everything outside of naturalism is some degree of supernatural or metaphysical, depending on which word you prefer, but I use them interchangeably. So, I mean, there have been geniuses that didn't believe in metaphysics, but there are plenty who did. There's, genius disagreement, like there is on every topic. I mean, this is not my field of study, so it's difficult for me to, pick a name off the top of my head, but I would say that probably, Carl Sagan, I would expect to be a pure naturalist. I could be wrong. I'm not trying to stake my reputation on that claim. I'd have to look some shit up, but he strikes me as the kind of person who is inarguably a genius. Yeah. I mean, I think he was a genuinely clever person with a lot of accomplishments who was also an excellent science communicator. Probably Richard Feynman, too, would also be in that category. There's a reason why he was brought in to kind of post, what's the word? Almost an autopsy of the Challenger disaster. I mean, we're in tangents upon tangents, but I feel like you've maybe carved a definition of genius around the combination. See? Okay. Yeah. I would say Einstein was a genius, and you say he's a dumbass. Nikola Tesla would agree with me, but you say that, but, you don't necessarily know that. I would ask Nikola Tesla, but I don't have the shovel and necro knowledge to ask him. Okay. So I would say that Einstein was a genius. He made several very significant leaps in understanding of how the physical universe worked. A lot of them were controversial, and he stuck to his guns and got proven right, especially by, the eclipse experiments. So you can argue against Einstein being a genius, but I think it's one of the... I mean, it's been proven, though. This is why we have retrograde for Mercury. Dude, you can send it, but I won't watch it. I won't have the time in my day. I'm sorry. I just... That's not in my schedule. I'm crammed. Wow, okay. Here's what's bothersome about what just happened. Like, I feel like I'm a very affable person who's happy to go out on a limb with people and have a respectful conversation where we don't necessarily agree, right? That's honestly a comfort zone for me in a lot of ways. Like, I can handle gently disagreeing with someone and finding common ground when we do have partial agreement. Bread and butter for me. I love that shit. But then, like, okay, the second I'm not following along, after I spend a decent chunk of my stream, you know, interacting and hanging out and being cool, like, this guy bails as soon as he's not getting his way. I think numerology is cool, but I think that move is childish. Like, I don't 100% agree with him, but I'm happy to entertain the thing here. The second there's any degree of reciprocality, he's like, I take my ball and go home. I'm like, bro. I wouldn't say that necessarily, like, and this is mostly me hedging my bets, but I wouldn't necessarily say that, like, every single claim Einstein has ever made about the universe is 100% accurate. You know? Like, the God does not play dice quote does not seem to bear out with our observations about quantum physics, for example. Alright? However, Einstein is someone who cracked a bunch of mysteries about how the universe worked, was pretty much proven right on most of them, and it's not controversial because we have all the evidence that he was right. And not only that, it takes a lot to swing the scientific community when you're pushing something that is so outsider. I mean, a lot of people saw Einstein the way that, like, numerology is seen by most of society right now. And then he was right. And I guess that, like, that articulates something that I don't like about a lot of the alternative physics, metaphysics community, is everyone's got, like, a real hard-on for proving Einstein wrong and acting like he is some sort of, like, authoritarian figure within science history. And it's like, nah, bro, he was a lot like one of you, except he landed on the correct thing in ways that were able to be demonstrated with multiple scientific studies. He's not a villain figure. You have a lot in common. And he, like, literally the only reason he's villainized, I think, is because he represents, like, the thing to beat at this point. Like, he's the record holder in a certain sense. It's not exactly, like, it's not a perfect analogy, but there is a way that people look at science sometimes as if there's, like, this world record competition for bestest scientist. You know? Who's most genius in science history? And along with that perception comes the perception that, you know, especially in common understanding, that like the person to ascribe that label to is Einstein. And I don't necessarily know, like he's a go-to person that I can go to for like, hey, an example of a genius person who stuck to his guns on something where he was correct but people didn't want to believe him and proved his way to victory. Hell yeah, that is an inspirational success story. But he's not the only like genius that you could potentially put on that pedestal. You know, like Ramanujan would be a great example, but he's more obscure. But everyone has seen pictures of Einstein. Everyone's seen E equals mc squared, even if they don't know what those letters symbolize in context, which is its mass energy conversion ratio. I just, you know, there's a vibe here that is not quite easy to articulate, but it's somewhere in the ballpark of don't make me pit bad bitches against each other. And yeah, I find it upsetting when the alt community villainizes Einstein as if he came in and told everybody how stuff worked and people just obeyed. Not believed, but like, I'm going to pick that word on purpose. Obeyed. Because this all comes back to like the same thought pattern of like, you hear the same tone and the same language when people talk about Fauci and the COVID vaccines. You know, who are you to say what's true? Who are you to tell everyone and declare yourself the authority? Which, that's not really what's going on in either of those situations. And they're not necessarily like that similar situations to each other, which is especially why it's wild to see them treated in such a comparable way by the alt community. So I kind of feel like that wasn't completely wasted time. I had fun doing like hobby numerology here, but there is part of my brain that's like, thank you for coming on my stream and wasting my time, bro. Like, because even without it being a complete waste of time, like, I don't know if I would have engaged that much with that person if I knew he was just gonna like throw a tantrum as soon as I disagreed with him slightly and didn't want to watch a video, because they always want you to watch a video. So much crankitude happens because you gotta watch this video, bro. And there's a reason for that pattern, in my opinion. Like, if someone wants you to watch a video to change your worldview about science, that's like, okay, admittedly there's some pattern matching to say that's probably going to be bunk. I can recognize patterns too, but I can see underlying reasons why that is a staple of the crankitude shit, right? Because video is a medium where you're kind of like letting the content wash over you and going into, I think it's alpha waves of brain activity while you're watching, and it's a little bit like dreamlike. You have to be kind of careful with video content, and not just on this topic, but like anything, video is an excellent vehicle for being convinced of things on inadequate evidence. There is a reason why most scientific literature is literature and not scientific video. And that's not just because there's an established history, long predating video being a medium. That's part of it, sure. But it's also a better medium for really proving your work and presenting something where the audience is expected to follow along with how you got there while thinking critically about where the holes in your argument might be. Like a white paper or something like that is always going to be a more humble medium on purpose. It's always going to be more in the vibe of like, hey, here's how I got here, here's why I think this, follow my footsteps, can you find flaws in my argument? Please, if you can, tell them to me. All right? That's a paper. A video is like, I'm going to tell you a bunch of things, and maybe there's a nickel of doubt about something in your brain, but we're going to move on because I can't really interact with you. It's not interactive. And time flows at the pace that it flows. So unless you're constantly pausing, which is a little weird in video, so unless you're constantly pausing and dissecting, you are not going to engage with video as critically as you are with text. And that's the advantage of video for convincing you of things that don't have basis. And that's why they always want you to watch a video. So when they want you to watch a video, it's partly that, and partly, like, there's always this aspect of, I can't explain it in a convincing way as well as this video can. So you should just watch the video that convinced me. Alright? And what they don't realize that indicates is your argument doesn't work outside the warm, gentle incubator of the advantages of video. Right? It's got artificial propaganda privilege. And if your argument doesn't work outside of that highly advantageous nursery, it doesn't work. If something is only convincing in video format, it's not convincing. Or at least, you shouldn't let yourself be convinced by it. I never did give my perspective on tarot, and I'll summarize it quickly. Alright. So yeah, most of the magic of tarot is not getting the right cards. Okay? It could be any arbitrary cards, and it is purely random, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. But tarot is still interesting and useful and cool. And I say this as a near naturalist. That's how I'll describe myself. A near naturalist. My only, supernatural suspicion about the world is that information leaks. Which is the structure of the world is kind of artificially holding information in places where it can logically be justified to be, and those barriers are imperfect and sometimes permeable. And sometimes someone will just know something they weren't supposed to know. And, that's it. Alright? But also random thoughts happen, so you have to fact check things rather than just like, something popped into my head. I'll believe it as leaked truth from some distant place. You know, you still have to like verify things before you believe them. So that's where I'm at as a near naturalist. As a near naturalist, I like tarot. Not necessarily because I believe in the magic. Alright? I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I kind of don't. You know, like, maybe something leaks through. Like, here's my worldview. Maybe something leaks through, but, like, what's cool about tarot doesn't rely on that at all. What's cool about tarot is the interpretation stage. The card is a prompt to look at your context through a lens you might not have chosen on your own to look through. And no matter what card you get, it will give you an angle to look at your problem that will stimulate your mind and possibly lead you to unexpected answers. So, don't use tarot to tell you how to live your life in terms of like blind obedience. That's gonna lead to some bad decisions. But use it as an exercise to see new perspectives and consider particular lenses and options when confronting the complex problems of real life. They're kind of like, they're inspiration for how to think about whatever your prompt is. And people don't necessarily realize that they're doing that when they do tarot. And a lot of tarot fans would be very offended to hear me describe it that way. But the reason it works so well is even if you don't necessarily realize you're doing that, you are doing that, in my opinion, and you're reaping the benefits. And those benefits can be very real and tangible. And then immediately ascribed to magic. So that's why I like tarot, but don't necessarily conceptualize it the same way as most people who enjoy tarot. So, we're now at 12:30. I got a deadline to get this shit done today, and I burned a lot of time on a side quest. So I'm gonna... it's that time of day where my body's just needing to go to the bathroom all the time. I'll be right back, and then we're gonna get back on track. Okay. Alright. I'm still rolling my eyes about this, by the way. I'm gonna try not to be, like, salty all day about this, but... Yeah, and I'm not that salty, but I'm just like, dude... You know, like, I kind of want to make one of those god-awful, Wojak memes. Just like, free thinkers when you won't just think what they tell you to. It's like the angry crying. Yeah. You know? Mm. They have no chill when you don't uncritically absorb what you're being told. Just, yeah. I value truth, so it grates at me. Okay, so we're pulling out a triad, but this triad currently